Welcome to the PRFFP, the podcast showcasing the films and the directors of the Party Room Film Festival. This week's guest directed Mousetrap Killers, Thrice the Stice, Bargain Batman, Golden Dewey Heist, and this year's submission, The M Squad. Please welcome the director, Matt Stice.
Yay! Yeah. I'm here.
Matt, thank you for your time this evening.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, this year we did Red versus Blue, and you were one of our team captains. Tell me a little bit about how that was broached, when you were approached for being a team captain, figuring out the categories, all of that. Tell me a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so I was contacted by, I believe, Josiah and Zach. They wanted to do a conference call about an idea they had. So I didn't really have any expectations. I was, I'm always, I always have my stuff planned out well in advance. So every time I hear about some new idea or something, I'm always like, how am I going to make that work for my film? That was, I guess, my initial thought. But then they told me the idea, which I know Andrew on his podcast mentioned he couldn't be there, but Zach and Josiah presented it to Sam and me. And we were both like immediately like, oh yeah, no, this is awesome. This is great. This is a fantastic idea. I was super excited, and I was honored to be one of the two captains selected by the council. So as far as the draft and the planning of the categories and everything, Sam and I got together and we worked on coming up what we thought would be, we primarily focused on trying to have interesting matchups and categories that had not been done before. So I think every single matchup was something new. So that was something we worked on. And then as far as the categories, we wanted to go with the opposites theme. So we brainstormed opposites, like hot versus cold and stuff like that. And we kind of knew to some degree what certain people were wanting to do with their film. So we catered the categories to that if we knew what they were planning. And we met at Sam's house and we made a shot like this ridiculous intro video with all sorts of silly nonsense. And we were sending screenshots of, like, we were sending stuff to Andrew like, oh man, this is going to be quite the thing for you to edit, because he had absolutely no idea what was going on. Yeah. And he was the one editing it. So he's like, all right, I'll make something out of this. I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something.
Y'all did like a draft pick to choose your teams. Let's not say like who was last and all that, but I do want to know, who was your number one draft pick? Who was your first draft pick?
I'll be honest, I actually don't even remember. I know Sam can tell me. I'm pretty sure Sam knows what the draft order was. I don't remember. I think it was either Levi or Aaron.
Okay.
I believe, because my strategy was, at least initially, was collecting previous Dewey winners and like people that I knew, people that had either won the Dewey or on the cusp of winning, because Paul was right there and Levi and Aaron, obviously. And I couldn't draft Sam because obviously he's a captain on the other team.
When it came to the red and blue teams, did you and Sam argue about that at all? Like, I want to be red. No, I want to be red. Any of that?
No, it was oh, what colors should we do? Oh, well, red's my favorite color. Sam's like, oh, well, I like blue. Okay, how about we just do red versus blue? Okay, perfect.
Just as simple as that.
It took like 3 seconds.
Whenever I pitched it to the council to do like the whole Civil War thing, I did like put a little caveat. I was like, please, 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 red is my favorite color. Can I at least, whatever the teams are, can I just be on the red team at least? And they were like, that's out of our hands. So it worked out for me. I'm very happy.
Sure did. That was, definitely came in clutch for you.
At that point, you don't know what the prop or the line is. Tell me what your reaction was when you saw the rule video and it was revealed that the prop was a snow globe and the line was "Make the podcast great again."
Well, I'll tell you that I was actually there in person when the council did the draw to decide what that would be, because I was over at Josiah's place and I I don't even remember why I was there, but it might have been for pickleball or something.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's not important. Anyway, they did the draw. They wrote everybody's name down, put it in a hat or whatever it was, and they drew it out. And they're like, "All right, so it's the thing that Jacob submitted. What was it? Oh, make the podcast great again. Oh, okay, okay. Oh boy." And I was like, "No, I was all about it. I was like, that's really funny that that's the line." And I know that some people were upset that it wasn't a movie quote or a famous movie quote,
Hmm.
but I don't care. I'm not one of those people that really is like dead set on it being a movie quote. Like, to me, it can be whatever as long as it's not too outrageous. I think Make the Podcast Great Again was a good one. And then for the prop, the snow globe, yeah, they pulled Sam's name. Like, what was Sam's? Oh, snow globe. Okay. And I thought, okay, that I could work with that. That's a fun prop. That's you know, snow globes don't really do much other than sit there and you can shake them up. But
Hmm.
with PRFF, you can be creative and come up with a ton of different ways to use anything. So I was I liked both the line and the prop. I thought they were both really good choices.
Awesome. I think that's a first. You have a history of having your idea like prepared well in advance. You have shoot days scheduled well in advance. Is that um, is that true for this year as well?
Yeah, it's, I guess, in a way, a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in the terms of I know what I want to do, but it's a curse in terms of, have I don't know if I would even say curse. It's just in terms of the logistics, because I have to adapt the script to whatever the rules are, which isn't usually too difficult. But then a lot of times I want to have a bunch of people in my film, so I was trying to coordinate having all these people come together and be in it. This year it was just me. However, it was difficult because I had to coordinate getting a large crew, because since there's going to be a lot of green screening and all sorts of different editing and stuff, I
Hmm.
need people that that knew what they were doing in terms of like camera operation and lighting and green screen stuff, like all of that, which is why I was really hoping that I could get Josiah and Zach on the project, because I knew that they would be great people to have involved. And then it worked out really well because Cody will happen to be around at least for the first shoot date that I had. And he brought in like a ridiculous amount of equipment, and we had a crazy setup. I mean, I don't know if you remember seeing the behind the scenes photos in the chat a while back, but
Yeah.
it was pretty wild. I think I wanted to shoot the first weekend in June, but I had something going on. So we shot, I believe, the second weekend in June, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
And then after that, it was kind of whenever I could find time slash find a crew, it was kind of
Yeah.
difficult. And I was still shooting as late as the final weekend in July. So yeah, so
Wow.
there's a reason why it was it was as late as it could have been, and it still wasn't even done.
Mm.
Well, a lot of that was just laziness with editing, but also because it took forever to shoot it.
Sorry, I just don't think you fully answered my question.
No, I
Going
didn't.
going into this year, did you have the idea for M Squad prior?
Yeah, sorry, I went on a tangent there, but yes, very much so. I've had the M Squad idea for. I think I got that idea before PRFF, the fourth one, P4R, whatever it's called, P4FF. I can't remember exactly, but one day I just I was like brushing my teeth or something. I thought, wouldn't it be hilarious if I made a film where all the characters are just different characters that I've played in all the different films, and it's
Hmm.
just the good versus the bad. I thought that'd be funny, and that was over a year before I even made the film.
Hmm. Well, because you needed to have even more characters in that roster, and
Yeah,
by waiting another year, you added another
that's
10
true.
probably.
Yeah, there's a good arsenal for sure. I didn't even include everybody that I could have. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Um,
Maybe sequel one day. Maybe I'll add everyone. We'll see.
Well, thing is, you are just always in the party room films. Like you are always in at least like 5 of them. So it's like, whenever we get to party room 10, there will be at least like 90 different versions of Matt.
There's quite a few, yeah. Although it's usually all bit roles. It's usually I'll pop in, do a couple things, and pop out. So
Mhm.
I was trying to count how many films I was actually in, and I think I might be missing some, but I want to say I think I make 19 appearances out of the 64 films. I'm in 19 of them, I think.
Mhm. What you're saying is like, you do like small little roles, but that does, cater to your acting ability because those roles become iconic. Yes, you're just the doctor in End of the Bloodline, but that is, an iconic. Everybody knows that that character is Dr. Von Stice. We know that he holds a pizza cutter for some reason.
It's his surgery weapon.
Yeah,
I
so
was gonna
like
say tool, but I chose the word weapon.
surgical instrument. But like even though it is this small bit part, it is still iconic, and we know what it is immediately. If Gilbert holds up a pizza cutter, we don't know who that is. If
Yeah,
you're holding a fedora, a jalapeno, and a pizza cutter, we don't know what you're going for.
yeah. I try to have something different about each character so that it's more obvious, especially considering I wear green for like 3 different characters. So I have to like come up with some way to differentiate between them.
When casting you for Unstoppable Force, I specifically was like, this guy has to be the Green Force fighter because he's always green.
Yep. And then I realized that I can't just put myself in front of a green screen or else that would cause problems. So I used a blue background instead.
Thank you so much, by the way, for being just so great in that role. I loved it. You
Thank
played it
you. It
perfectly.
was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about my film. We're here to talk about the M Squad. So, camera opens and we are pushing in on this old timey phone. Why specifically that phone?
I just thought it'd be fun. It wasn't necessarily that specific phone that I was thinking of. I was just thinking of an old phone. I was thinking of I wanted an intro to like an older TV show. Phone rings, it dramatically dollies in on it, and then it gets picked up. And Zach just happened to have that. I mentioned to him that I was looking to, like, I was gonna try to figure out a way to find like an old phone, maybe at a thrift store or something. And he
Yeah.
said, "Well, I've got one. Check this out." And he pulled it out. And I said, "That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for." So I borrowed it, and it worked out great.
Now, to the right of that phone is the Jack Daniels lamp. And this lamp is in so many party room films, and it makes me very happy. Is there any significance to this lamp?
How many films is it in though? Because I can only think of like two.
Okay,
But
maybe not a ton, but it still makes me happy.
no, the only significance is that it's kind of an old rustic thing that my cousin's friend gave to me a while back because I guess he didn't want it. And since
Mhm.
it actually works, I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. Sure, whatever. No, there's not really any significance other than I just needed more stuff in the foreground to add dimension to the shot. So it's just decoration.
So pick up the phone first, reveal the first Matt reveal. It
Hmm.
is Matt from Unsightly Zombies, and we get Trevor doing the voiceover again.
Yeah.
Tell me, I guess I'm kind of going to ask this question 20 times because we have like a million characters. But what was the conversation like with Trevor when you were like, I want to revisit this character? Because technically that's his property or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have to get permission from the directors. So tell me a little bit about that.
Right. So I knew going in, I'm gonna try my best to not violate the McGlone rule, Jacob McGlone IP rule. So I went through the proper channels. I secured permission for the likeness of the captain, and I believe it was something like, "Hey, can I use the captain?" Sure, or of course, or something like that is what Trevor said. Then I asked him, "Hey, can you record these lines for me?" And he did, and yeah, it worked out awesome.
When creating films each year, are you one that likes to keep it close to the chest? Like, I want this to be a secret and a surprise for everybody? Or are you more open with it? Let's get as many people involved as possible, make this a group bonding experience.
See, that's funny. Like, it's interesting because for me, those two kind of almost go hand in hand because I like to keep things a secret, so it's a surprise. However, I also like to involve a lot of people in my projects. So it's
Hmm.
kind of hard to keep the secret when I have like half the festival involved every year.
Yeah.
However, so for this year, I told people don't tell anybody about what's going on. But if you're involved, then obviously you have to know, but
Yeah.
don't tell anybody else because for the people that weren't able to be a part of it, I wanted it to come out of nowhere.
Then we get a reveal that second and third Matt from Twice the Stice, fourth Matt is Gilbert the Green from Chronicles of Light, and fifth Matt is the son from Le Plombier. Again, you contacted Trevor and Tanner about using these characters, yes?
Mhm. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the son from Le Plombier? Because its from his original screening in Le Plombier, I don't know too much about this character. Can you tell me a little bit about his backstory?
Well, he's the son of the protagonist from Le Plombier, and he's just a little kid. And to my knowledge, that is the extent of his character development. I assume he's gone through some trauma. His mother passed away tragically,
Mm,
so he's got that burden that he carries. And my interpretation as the actor who portrays the son, I try to dig down deep and think from within. He's a strong character. He's got that burden that he's lacking that maternal figure, but
mhm.
you know Zach's character is a strong father figure and is able to get me through my childhood. I'm in progress. Obviously, I'm still very much a child, but I think that my character has a certain level of maturity to where he at least knows that something's going on. He might not know enough to know that's probably not a great idea to get a gumball in the middle of a firefight, but he at least understands the concept of money and paying for said gumball.
Very good. Very, very well put. Well put. Why is Gilbert the Green reading an ambassador magazine? Is this because he is an ambassador from Amara?
That was just a reference to acknowledge where we all met, Asbury University. And if it weren't for Asbury, then the film festival would never exist. So I thought that that would be an appropriate, little, just a little acknowledgement, little nod to our roots.
Connect those dots for me. How does Ambassador Magazine relate to Asbury?
Because it's their magazine that they send out.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's like a monthly thing, I believe, and
Hmm.
alumni are eligible to receive it. I don't know if you have to graduate or what. I have no idea. I just know that I get them. So
As a Asbury dropout, I am not on that mailing list.
I don't even know if I still get them. I feel like I haven't got one in a while, but I did also
Mhm.
change my address and I never told them. So maybe that's why they just don't know where I live now. I don't know.
So then we get the sixth Matt appearance. This is the Colonel from Metal Weird Solid.
Mhm.
Again, you spoke to Sam about this.
I mean, you can ask me about every single person, but I'm just going to tell you the same thing every time. Yes.
Look, I'm just trying to make sure that no rules were broken. Nobody's IP was infringed upon. I just want to make sure that
Well,
everything is above board.
I don't know what the statute of limitations is on said law, but
Mhm.
That's irrelevant because I got the permission.
Tell me about the COVID skull.
That was AI. I was like in a huge hurry and I was like, man, I really need to get something. So
Mhm.
I typed in skull and crossbones and that's what it generated. It's not great looking. I'm not really too happy with it, but
Mhm.
it is what it is when you're in a huge time crunch.
Speaking with the Colonel from Metal Weird Solid, one of the blue mats says Mat 2 and I. Does this imply that this is the original mat? And if so, how do they know?
Yeah, so you got Matt and you have Matt 2,
Mhm.
and they just know because they know. Matt 1 knows he's Matt 1 because he was the original Matt, and Matt 2 knows that he's Matt 2 because he's not the original Matt. And then the other people don't know. They only know because they only know if the Matts tell them.
We then see Dr. Von Stice talking with Matt from the Mousetrap Killers. I
Mm-hmm.
have, and I could have asked this earlier, but now it just seems like a good time. I've done a little bit with Meaningless McGlone Fever Dream. I did a little bit of, working with myself. Tell me how you pulled off this to such an extent.
Yeah. But before I delve into that, I just want to assure you that yes, I did in fact ask Matt for permission before I used his character from the Mousetrap Killers. Just so there's no confusion, I did get permission.
Thank you for
And
that.
as far as doing the well, when they interact with each other, that's an easy one because that's just a lock off shot. And then
Mhm.
I act everything out on one side, and then I go and act everything out on the other side. Now, the tricky part, obviously, is trying to get like timing and stuff down. And that's where I would have, I think, if I remember correctly, I had someone like stand off on the side where they wouldn't be seen and just have them kind of read the lines back to me. So
Mhm.
then that way I had the timing and I would just edit them out and then edit in the actual other mat.
Mousetrap Killers Matt is now referred to as Snow Globe. I like
Mm-hmm.
it. And we even have a reason for it because mousetraps didn't give him good luck. I like it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it is at this point that we start to see that the effects are missing. We have this is where we start to have the breakdown. Um,
Oops.
so, what happened, buddy?
Um, I don't know. I just there. So I think what happened is a lot of it was I tried to go through and do a bunch of stuff that I knew how to do, and then there was a lot of effects that I didn't know how to do, and I spent a lot of time trying to figure that out and what that would look like, and trying
Mhm.
to figure out because I have in my head what I want it to look like, but that doesn't always translate super well because there are certain things that I just have never done before. So I have to look up tutorials, and then some of them are really time consuming. So it's really just working through all of that. And then there comes a point where I just don't have enough time to do all the effects justice. So then I have to prioritize, well, what effects absolutely have to be on screen? Like I have to have something there to convey to the audience what's going on. Otherwise, there's going to be confusion.
Mhm.
And so that's where I pretty much abandon doing anything complex and just do the absolute bare minimum to at least try to convey what's supposed to be happening on screen. So I think that's where it's kind of inconsistent in terms of what's finished and what isn't, because I'll make a pass and do like all the minimum stuff and then just try to build upon that and do more complex stuff. And sometimes I'll have already done complex stuff at the beginning or middle of the film. So, I don't really, this film in particular, I did not edit, in order at all. Like I edited it all over the place. I
Mhm.
actually edited all the scenes independent of one another in different sequences in Premiere. So I would edit the firefight in the lobby all by itself. I would edit the fight between Gilbert the Green and Senor Verde all by itself, and then
Mhm.
I would intercut that with the fight with Snow Globe, Dr. Von Stice, and Matt 2.
Yeah.
So Yeah, so yeah, it was a very convoluted way of doing things. Definitely not the most efficient, and a lot of it was really just kind of learning as I went because I'd never tried to do something quite like this before. I mean, yeah, I've done clones and stuff before, but I'd never done, full-blown clone fight scenes and stunt doubles and green screen and all
Mhm.
the different things. I'd done that stuff to some degree in small doses here and there, but I never tried to do all of it at once for an entire film. So I
Yeah,
think,
to do a scene where you're fighting your clone and like get it to be a masterpiece on the first try, you got to be pretty great. So I'm talking about me.
yeah, yeah, there's definitely some trial and error involved. That's for sure. That's why I did like multiple takes or multiple versions of each action, typically,
Mhm.
in order to try to. And I'm like, well, surely one of these will work. And even if it doesn't really work, I can probably speed it up or slow it down in post to try to
Yeah.
match the timing.
So, well, I will say one thing that you have a lot better than me is a double that is about your size.
Yep,
So that
it
helps
helps.
out a lot.
It does. Thank you, Josiah, and his friend Tyler.
So, are these the same? Yeah, we go down to the firefight in the lobby. Are these the same henchmen from Mousetrap Killers? Are these the same guys?
Yes, yes, they are. Like that is the intent. Is that there's supposed to be more henchmen along the lines of like the seemingly endless supply of henchmen that the
Mhm.
Mousetrap had in the Mousetrap Killers.
Tell me about the spells that Gilbert is casting. Greenus Boltus.
I just thought it'd be funny. I thought that was sounded hilarious. So I said it on set, and the crew thought it was funny. So we just stuck with it because he's shooting a green bolt, a green bolt of lightning or whatever it is.
Now, it does appear as though, because he keeps grabbing cards, he has like a skip card and then he has a reverse Uno card.
Hmm.
Does he actually need those to cast Greenus Boltus?
Not necessarily. However, I do believe that the green reverse amplified his power as he was able to direct the energy back toward his opponent.
Mm. So, like, green objects around him kind of help with his green energy.
I believe so. However, I don't want to speak entirely because Tanner, the originator of the character,
Mhm.
um, I did speak to him about. I've got him doing some things and using some powers. I don't know how lore accurate this is, and he told me not to worry about it. So, so I didn't.
So, during this firefight, we have a few shots of Paul from Bargain Batman. Um,
Yes, yes. I'm glad you
Explain that to
recognize.
me.
I'm glad you recognize that that's the bandit from Bargain
Of
Batman.
course.
The explanation to that is that he was my assigned actor, so that's why he's in it. But if you want an in-universe explanation, he has been appointed by the Snow Globe to be the leader of the henchmen. So he is
Mm,
overseeing the assault in the lobby, or I guess the defense would be more accurate to say. And just like in Bargain Batman, he more or less just has his henchmen fight his battles for him.
mhm.
If you'll notice, if you pay attention, he's not actually even armed with a weapon.
Nope.
So, he doesn't really have much he can really do outside of just directing traffic.
Yep. We see a few dodges from him, but
That's
we
true.
don't see a death scene from him. Did he die?
No. Well, that is up for interpretation. However, the way I look at things is that a character is never really completely dead. They're dead, they're alive until you see them die on screen, and then they're only dead until the money dictates that they come back. If there's money to be made by having a character return,
Yeah.
then you can find a way to bring them back.
Amazing. So we get done with the firefight in the lobby. We move up a floor, and I, I how do I put this? I'm gonna shoot straight with you, Matt. You talked a lot about how you were in over your head VFX wise, right?
Hmm.
I feel as though putting a jalapeno on a plate could have been done practically
Yeah,
very easily. So what happened there?
I did not want to buy a jalapeno, and I said I'm just going to do it in post.
It's so funny.
It was partly because I genuinely did not want to go into a store and buy a jalapeno, and partly because I thought it'd be funny for the lulz,
Like
just digitally edited in.
just for no reason. There's a,
Yeah, no, you are 100% correct. It would not have been difficult to go into a store and to purchase one to put on the plate, but I decided to do things the easy now hard later way.
yeah. So then we get the reveal of it's Senior Verde.
Hmm.
Um, and he is tossing the prop from that year. He's tossing a lot of CDs. Are
Hmm.
all of these Nickelback CDs? Is he like the world's biggest collector of Nickelback CDs?
Well, you never actually specifically see them, so again, that's another one where the audience may interpret it, but I think as the actor who portrayed the character, again, it's not my IP, so I can't confirm 100%, but I believe that in that moment he was just slinging everything that he could get his hands on, and I do believe that a large percentage of those discs were in fact Nickelback CDs.
In the face-off between Snow Globe, Von Stice, and the Blue Mats, we finally
Hmm.
get to see the force field that we never saw year one. Tell me how it felt finally getting to see that vision realized.
It felt good. It felt good. It still wasn't completely what I intended for when I pictured it in my head. However, it worked out because I found this site that has various stock footage assets that you can import into your project, like gunfire and explosions and things like that. And one of them
Mhm.
was an energy shield. So I just took that energy shield and then copied and pasted it. And then I think it had like an oh, I think it was actually an animated video. It wasn't just a still frame of the shield because it had like an impact on it.
Mhm.
So I thought that's perfect because obviously it's getting impacted. So I think all I had to do is just copy and paste that shield a bunch of times because it would each one that I put in would show an impact. And there's a lot of ray gun fire on the shield. So it worked out. It was time consuming, it was tedious to put all those in on the timeline, but it
Mhm.
worked out pretty well, I think.
Well, then we move on, and Gilbert the Green is like in a bad way. Um, the pizza, you know,
Hmm.
it's so I know you said that you conferred with Tanner a little bit.
Hmm.
Did y'all talk and confirm that pizza gives life force to Gilbert the Green?
No, but I figured that that would be something that would happen. And I also just thought it'd be funny if that's the out of universe reason. And then the in universe reason, again, I didn't speak to Tanner about this, but he did say, I forget exactly what he said, but he basically implied that there's like the multiverse is a thing and there's, different
Mhm.
interpretations of the character. So yeah, I think he was low on energy in that moment. And I think the pizza does give him powers to harness the green energy and use it for the forces of good.
Well, see, what's interesting about that is in the Chronicles of Light book 6, he also uses pizza as like a life force energy boost. And
Hmm.
so it was just amazing that it got confirmed by two directors who had not spoken to each other about it.
Right. Yeah, that is correct. I did not know what he was going to do. We shot that after we shot after I shot the pizza bit in the M squad, so I didn't know that that was going to be a thing. And then it ended up working out. So I think it's pretty safe to say that there is something to the pizza theory that it does provide strength to Gilbert the Green.
Blue Matt performs a judo chop on Dr. Von Stice. Is this a reference to Area 50 Love?
Not specifically. It's more so a reference to old cheesy TV shows where characters could take people out by just like chopping once. It was also just like a really quick, easy way to dispatch of Dr. Von Stice without needing to choreograph any more fight scene. It was already challenging enough to do that. However, that shot was arguably the most complex in terms of coordination because there were 3 mats on screen, and there was no cloning involved because I had 2 stunt doubles. We had a stunt double for the stunt double in that, because we had Josiah's friend Tyler was one of the mats, and then I was obviously Dr. Von Stice, and then Josiah was another one of the mats. And so, you know, Dr. Von Stice is fighting with the guy, has him pinned down, and then Matt comes up, or I guess I honestly can't even remember right now if I was Matt or Matt 2, but one of the mats chops him down. And yeah.
So timer is going. It's, we're getting down to the wire. There is a shot of the camera pushing, or to use a term you used earlier, dollying.
Uh-huh.
Am I using that right?
That is the industry standard term, yes.
So there's a shot of the camera dollying towards the timer, and it is at 0 seconds and 00:01. So it is at 1 millisecond. And then 2 seconds later, in the background of blue mat versus red mat, it is back at 56 seconds. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, those were those ones where it's at the end, and I'm just trying to get what effects need to be there. Those effects, while they would have been helpful, they weren't completely necessary because people going into the film, I had warned them that the effects weren't all done. So I trust that the audience would understand that there's supposed to be more time than what is shown on screen. Like the countdown obviously isn't consistent shot to shot. And that's one of the ones where if I had the time, I'd go in and I'd edit it and it'd have the correct time. And if I ever do a director's cut, that will be fixed. But I just did not prioritize getting that effect completed.
So there is no like time manipulation, time traveling happening in this film?
No, not intentionally.
Well, so since you confirmed that, there is no time travel within this film's universe, it does mean that it happened after Thrice the Stice, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where are the other 19 clones?
I think they're on holiday or something. Something like that. Probably. They're probably on other assignments. I mean, there's a lot of things they could be doing, and Matt and Matt 2 and the rest of the M Squad are capable of handling it. The M Squad, now actually, in all seriousness, to drop the pretentious director bit for a second, I did have a concept where I was going to use the 19 clones, and that actually involved Josiah coming back as the rookie from Thrice the Stice. I was going to have a bit where at the very end of the film, like the stakes are high, the countdown's on and everything, and then they end up winning the fight, and then I don't know, like they arrest the guy or whatever, like they're taking him out, and then the rookie shows up with the 19 clones, like he's the backup, like they go back to the lobby, and then rookie shows up, and then all the 19 clones are there. It's like, well, we came as support, but it looks like you did the job without us anyway, or some cheesy cutesy line. And the script was already too long. The film was already going to be too long. I was, with everything I already had to do, I didn't see any way I was going to be able to pull that scene off. So I cut it from the script. But that was a plan that I did originally have. I did have a plan to include them. But that's not to say that they may not come back in the future. You never know. They're out there somewhere. So they could pop up again eventually.
And if there's one thing we know, it's that the Matt multiverse, the Mattiverse, is
Mhm.
growing exponentially every year.
More and more keep getting added. Who knows? Like you said earlier, who knows what it'll be a few years from now.
So we, obviously we keep cutting to this video of like the rocket or the missile launching. What
Mhm.
is that video from? What is that missile explosion from?
It's from a rocket test in like the 50s. I don't know specifically which test it was, but
Mhm.
obviously that particular test did not work. It did not go as planned. I think, yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that was, but
Like
I
it's not
typed
from a
in
movie, it's from like an
it's an
actual.
it's an actual legitimate rocket test. To my knowledge, nobody died. I do not think anyone was harmed in that. It was an unmanned rocket launch test.
Okay.
Because I wasn't, if people did die, I wasn't trying to include that in my film, obviously.
Yeah.
But I just typed in rocket launch explosion or something like that just to see what I
Mhm.
could find. I was actually going to use one of SpaceX's rocket launch tests that blew up on the pad, but then I
Mhm.
found the other clip and I thought this one's way better, so I used it
Yeah.
instead.
It is really good because it like kind of falls in on itself and you see like the cloud from beneath.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, I thought I got a pretty good reaction the night of. I was pretty happy with how it turned out.
I have like two more questions, and like I don't know why this question is important, but it is to me. Why
Okay.
does Gilbert say, this is great for the green energy, long live America? Can you please just like connect those dots for me?
Another win for green energy. Long live America. I was thinking I really gotta have him say something. I want some kind of a one-liner. So what's something that Gilbert can say? Oh, I guess green energy, it's kind of a joke because it's not like the green energy you hear about in the media, or whatever. It's just literal electricity that's green that he shoots out of his hands.
Yeah.
That was where that came from. Again, it was just like, I don't know. I can't think of anything better to say, so this will work as a one-liner, I guess.
But the long live America. Gilbert's not from America.
Oh well, he's part of the M Squad, and the M Squad fights for America.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. And then you've told me a little bit about it already, but tell me a little bit more about your crew behind the scenes.
Yeah, so I reached out to I think well, so I reached out to Melissa well in advance because I wanted to use the location, place called Father's Love in Shelbyville. She works there, and I found out about it when I went to Josiah's birthday party because
Mhm.
I was thinking, man, I don't really, I have this idea. I need like they're supposed to be in like a building with multiple floors. So I need like an office complex or something. I don't really know. I don't really have any leads on any locations. I don't really want to just green screen it all. I'd do it if I had to, but I wanted something that I could sell as being a multi-level building. And
Yeah.
then when I went to Josiah's birthday and was there, I was like, oh, this is perfect. This will work. So I asked Melissa if she thought it'd be viable to film a party room short here. And she said, yeah. And so that's how that happened.
Okay.
And then as
So
far
that's why she
as
gets the special. So that's why she
yes,
gets the special
yeah,
thanks on the credits.
she was, I guess her official title would be like locations provided by or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to do with locations. And then as far as um, the other people, yeah, I mean, Zach and Josiah, I knew I wanted to get them involved because I worked with them, I think, really on the majority of my films.
Mhm.
And so I knew that they're obviously, good people to have on set when it comes to technical things. I knew I wanted to do some funky lighting because, I'm trying to sell the same area as being two different places. So I thought if we light it differently, that'll sell it.
Mhm.
So, I knew that Josiah obviously has experience with lighting and stuff, as does Zach. So I wanted to get them involved. And then Cody just kind of fell into my lap. That was just fortunate that that happened to work out.
Hmm.
You know, obviously he's always welcome to come work on my films and everything, but I just didn't really think necessarily that he'd be available just because, you know, where he's in Columbus, but it worked out that he was able to come help out. And then for the other shoot days, um, Sam came and helped out on a day, and Josiah was there. His friend Tyler, I need to give a shout out to him because he did a little bit of everything. He was a
Mm.
stunt double. He held the boom pole for audio. He was clapping the slate. Like he was doing a lot of different things. So yeah, he came in super clutch. So I'm glad he was able to help out. Now, everybody kind of just did a little bit of everything on set, you know, whatever it took.
When you say clapping the slate, do you actually have one of those clappers on your sets?
Yeah,
Oh my
sure do.
gosh.
Yeah, we wrote everything. We marked it too. So like when I go in editing, I just look at it and I know what it is because I shot my film so out of order. It saves so much time when you do that. I mean, that's how you do it on an actual set. You know, you mark down what shot it is. Now we got a little sloppy and careless with it as we went along. You know, I had
Mm.
my shot list up, but there are some situations where we would add a shot in or we'd be shooting a scene and we wouldn't necessarily refer specifically to the shot list. We'd be like, well, we know it's this scene, but we don't really know what the shot is. Well, we'll just put down what this is.
Yeah,
So it wasn't 100% professional, just like the pros, but the idea was there.
that's amazing. That's I don't know. Something about like having an actual professional like clapper time stamper thing on a party room film set is just really funny to me.
I've used it on a few of them. I don't think I used it on all of them, but I've used it on at least I think one or two other ones as well, I believe.
All right. Well, before we move on, do you have any other stories, Easter eggs from the M Squad that you'd like to share?
I don't think so specifically. No, I can't really think of anything other than just shout out to the crew for helping it be a thing. I guess one thing is the whole Uno bit was just something we kind of came up with on the spot because it was there. We're like, well, maybe we should have like Uno cards kind of fly up to kind of sell that a laser shot hit there. And it took several
Hmm.
tries. We did several takes of it. And actually, one of the very first takes is the one we used. But Josiah was just off screen and he had like a fistful of cards and he just like chucked them at me. I mean, he kept trying it over and over again, and like they wouldn't fly apart like you see in the actual take. That was one of the first takes we did. We did that take, and it flew apart and looked awesome. So we tried doing it again with alternate angles, you know, and it never worked. Like they either stayed clumped up together, just a big clump of them just hit me directly in the face, and they didn't fly, or they just like missed me entirely, or it just didn't look right. So we did it so much, and then it ended up being one of the first things we used, or one of the first shots we did is what actually ended up being used. But I think it turned out pretty well, honestly. Oh, and also, I think this is pretty common knowledge, but I'm gonna, just in case people haven't heard, I'll bring it up again.
Hmm.
Um, the gumball bit with the sun, that was something that Sam suggested when we did a location scout. We actually location scouted ahead of shooting to try to get an
Hmm.
idea of where specific scenes would take place. And we walked in and he saw the gumball machine. He said, you should have a bit where the sun, like in the middle of the fight, he just gets a gumball while all the shooting's going on around him. And I thought that was really funny. So that was a Samuel Maddox special.
Now, how old do you think the gum was in that gumball machine? And did you actually use that gum to pop that bubble?
Is pretty old, I would imagine. I think I gave it to Tyler, maybe. I think he might have chewed it. I don't remember.
Ah.
But no, I bought some Hubba Bubba gum, Hubba Bubba Max bubble gum, and that was what I was chewing on screen. So that's a little movie magic. But yeah.
All
Also,
right.
I shot that all that chewing gum stuff was all just shot in my living room because I just had to. I I forgot to get an actual shot of the son being like tied up at the table.
Yeah.
Or I think I got one for the wide shot, but I didn't have a close-up of it. So I needed a close-up shot. So I shot the close-up in my living room and green screened it.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
What will Sam put in his mouth?
Welcome to What Will Sam Put in His Mouth? Today we have a polar bear soap dispenser or a big old dirty standing mirror.
What will Sam put in his mouth? Find out after this.
Who's that?
Party Room Film Festival director. So, Matt, as you know, this season on the podcast, I'm trying to give each of my guests ownership of their own episode by giving them a platform to make a presentation on whatever they want, as long as it is party room related.
Mhm.
So, what do you got for me today?
All right. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit of trivia, PRFF trivia.
Oh boy.
Now, for the folks at home and for Jacob, it is pretty simple. Answer the questions correctly for points, add up the points at the end for your total score. Now, the challenge here is Jacob is going to play this, and then we're going to keep track of his score. And I want people, watching this to keep track of their own score and then post in the chat if you beat Jacob.
Oh boy.
So,
All right, let me grab a pen and paper so I can keep track of my score.
yeah. That's good. Yeah.
So, arguably, I should be the best at this, given that I'm the group historian almost.
Potentially, although I will say that while many of these questions are like your typical trivia questions that you would expect to see in a trivia scenario, a lot of these are very thinly veiled, obscure statistic reveals, just for fun. So there's going to be some stats related questions that really it's not really important, but it's just kind of fun for discussion's sake, I feel like. So, all right.
So realistically,
Yes.
What do you think I will score?
I think you will probably get at least 50 to 75% of the points that you can get, I think.
I thought you were going to say 50 questions, right? And I was like, Matt, we do not have that many
questions. No, there are 17 questions.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
All right. First question. We'll start out with a relatively easy one, just to get everybody into the game. For 1 point, which of these films did not win the Golden Dewey? My Girlfriend is a Screen, Bargain Batman, End of the Bloodline, The Rotten Roommate, I'm a Monster.
My Girlfriend is a Screen, because he submitted it 28 days late. That was the year that Bargain Batman won the Golden Dewey.
All right, is that your final answer? Lock in
Locking in A.
That is correct.
Oh,
Jacob gets a point. All right.
All right.
Congratulations. That's 1 point for you. All right, moving on to the second question. Question number 2. Of the 64 films, how many start with the word the? So, for example, The Mousetrap Killer, The Rotten Roommate. How many of them start with the?
Oh my God. All right.
And again, this goes without saying, but it's, I encourage people to just not look it up and use the honor system and, pretend you're at a restaurant. It's trivia night. It breaks the spirit of it if you cheat.
I'm going with B, 16.
Is that your final answer?
I'm locking it in.
All right. The answer is E, 11.
Dang. The lowest number?
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Or 11. Now, in case anyone, I'm going to cover something here real quick because someone may point out the fact that on the YouTube channel, Tanner's Trilogy, a couple of the films are only listed as Chronicles of Light. However, I went by the poster and the title of the film actually does include it is the Chronicles of Light, not just Chronicles of Light.
Okay.
Just in case anybody was going to try to call me out on that one.
In case any of them are being nerds.
Yeah. What a concept. I'll say that to the best of my knowledge, all the answers I have in here are correct. However, I went through these and I can't confirm 100% that these are all 100% accurate, but I did the best I could. All right, question 3. 2 points. To date, how many films has the character Bon Burgundy appeared in?
Oh. It's either 3 or 4. Hold on. Everybody shut up. Because we get his first appearance in Me versus a Billion Lions, Greatest Showdown. Then I know that he is in my film, and he is also he is in Unstoppable Force. He was also in I'm a Monster, but I feel like there's a 4th one that I just can't.
Tick, tick. The arbitrary clock is ticking.
All right, I'm going with 3.
You're locking that in?
I guess.
All right. I researched this more thoroughly than a lot of the other questions, so I'm pretty confident that this is correct. But the answer that I found was 3.
Yes.
3 appearances.
Boom.
So you get the 2 points. Now, ladies and gentlemen. We have a bonus chance. What's
Here we
this? Can you name the 3 films you just did? So 1 bonus point for each appearance you name. I think you already named them all, right?
Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
For
So
those keeping track at home, I'm at 6.
Because you had Greatest Showdown, and then you had The Unstoppable Force. You had I'm a Monster, right?
Right.
There you go.
Amazing.
So that's 3 more points for you. All right. Let's go on. Question 4 for 1 point. The coin flip was heads in which film? Photophoria or Photophobia?
No, that's not fair. No, hold on. No. No. That's not fair. That's not fair. Will you help me in, like, which one was Trevor's and which one was Paul's? Or do I need to know that?
I am merely presenting the questions to you.
So the head is whenever Paul is looking to the left, he says, like, there's something over there, right? So that was Trevor's film. So, like, I have the knowledge. The knowledge I don't have is if it's phobia or phoria. I always refer to these films as the photoverse. I'm going to go. I mean, it's a 50-50 shot, man. Let's go photophobia with a B.
Lock that in?
Yes, sir.
You got it. You got it. You got the point. Congrats, my friend. Good job.
That's a brutal question. That should be worth way more than 1 point.
All right. Well, there'll be some higher point values coming up. Question 5, 1.5 points. In which film did the character Dr. Von Stice have the most screen time? Under the Bloodline, Into the Bloodline 2, The M Squad, or Life is Not Meaningless?
It's either B or C. I want to say I'm going to go with B. Lock that in. Into the Bloodline 2.
Got it.
Yes.
Good job. Now, I don't have the exact totals, but I do believe, I think End of the Bloodline, I'm only on screen for like 21 seconds roughly.
Mhm.
End of the Bloodline 2, it's over a minute. I can't remember exactly, but it's like a minute something. And then the M Squad, I believe it's 50-something seconds. And then Life is Not Meaningless is 0 seconds. So, all right. Question 6. 2 points. Which film had the largest margin of victory for the Golden Dewey? Which one won by the most votes? Also, I did not take into consideration, or sorry, I did, like, I know that Tick Tick had the tiebreaker vote. So I went off of what the final result was after the tiebreaker.
We're going to do process of elimination. Rotten Roommate, I lost by 1 point, so that one's out. Tick Tick was tied with Sir Sam, so that one's out. Bargain Batman was year 1, 2, 3. It's not I'm a Monster. It's either End of Bloodline or Bargain Batman. What year was Bargain Batman? Is the question. That was year 3. No, that was year 4. No, year 4 was Tick Tick. Largest margin of victory for Golden Dewey. I'm saying Bargain Batman. Lock it in. C.
The answer is End of the Bloodline.
Really? Dang.
Yes, sir. The largest margin of
Nice.
victory was the first year. End of the Bloodline beat out Evil by 3 votes. And Tick Tick had 2 after. Ready?
All right.
All right.
Hopefully we're good. Let's do a little. And we're back. Sorry for those technical difficulties.
So Bargain Batman had 8 votes, but after the 7-vote penalty, Kill Happy was dropped from 14 down to 7. Therefore, Bargain Batman had the 1 vote win, and then Tick Tick obviously had a tie. I'm a Monster by 1. Rotten Roommate beat Meaningless McGlone Fever Dream by 1. So every single year, the vote has come down to either a tie or a 1-vote difference, except the very first year. So that just goes to show how tightly contested the Golden Dewey is, and how hard it is to win one.
That's really interesting. I thought Evil and End of Bloodline was closer than that, so that's
It
interesting.
was 9-6, I believe, was the tally.
Wow. Wow, Andrew's not that good. Wow.
He is the most recent Dewey champion, so keep that in mind. And actually keep that in mind because that could come into play later, talking about who's quote-unquote good. Anyway, let's go to question 7. Question 7 is 2.5 points. To date, there have been several different PRFF-related podcasts. Collectively, how many total episodes have been released thus far?
Oh, boy.
Now, I will say that this total does include the ChatGPT Christmas special, and it even includes the April Fool's spoof podcast.
Does it include the mini pods?
It does. It includes all of the main podcasts, including The Year from Cody. It includes the first couple of episodes so up to this point, we're recording this on January 14th, and only 2 of this season's episodes have been released so far. So It includes those. It includes the ChatGPT. It includes the spoof April Fool's podcast, the mini pods, the fantasy football podcast as well. Can't forget about that one.
Oh, no. Okay, hold on. Oh, no. All right, that adds a lot. Okay. So, like, 14 times 2. Like, let's make this simple. Season 1 and 2 of the PRFFP. Let's just call that 28, right? 13 times 2, 20. First we had Landers, then we lost Landers, but we added Levi. So should just be 13 times 2 plus 2. Well, no, because I did a Landers episode. Let's just call it 28. All right. Now, Cody would have done... See, that's that's not fair. That gets really tricky. I don't know how many episodes Cody actually has released because I can't. I don't want to be mean, so I won't say anything. And I mean, like, it's safe to assume that there were 13 episodes of the mini pods and at least 13 episodes of the football one because he tried to get everybody. So, like, 28 plus 26 would put us around the 66 mark. But the real kicker is the season 3 mishaps. Because he did release a lot on the day of festival.
Sure did. We
But-
were inundated with content that day.
But then he also has released some these past few weeks, so I don't actually know like how many are out there now. Let's put our faith in Cody and say that he did 13 as well. No, let's not do that. Because I was not interviewed, and I don't believe he was interviewed either. So instead of 13, that would put us 13 or 12. That would put us back around 10. I'm going with 76 because that feels like a good number. It's either 76 or 73. I feel like 76. Lock it in.
All right. So by my count, to my knowledge, the best of my knowledge, the answer is C, 73. We have
That hurts. I did so much
had-
math for that. Oh,
and that's the thing too. The problem with that is because the first season you had all the directors, but then you had the council special at the end. But then the
Right.
second season, but then the first season you didn't have a Cody episode because he didn't turn it to film that year. And then the second season, but then you had the Landers episode, but then the second season you also had the wife episode as a substitute for the Landers episode since he wasn't there. And then you had the council as well. So you had 27 the first 2 years you did it. And then there were 13 mini pods. So that brings the total up to 40. And then there were 17 fantasy football pods. So that's 57. Yes.
So did they do double interviews, I suppose?
They did a few where it was just them. They didn't have a guest every week.
Okay.
So that's 57. And then Cody released 12. Now he released a couple of wife episodes. So there are a few missing directors. However, there were a little bit of compensation because he had a couple of wife episodes. So that brings the total up to 69. Then we have the spoof, the April Fool's thing. So that's 70. The Chat GPT is 71. And then the 2 episodes up to this point as of January 14th for this season. So that's 73.
Interesting.
As far as I know, that's everything.
No, I mean, that sounds correct. I can't believe I was off by 3, though.
All right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Hey, you did
no.
well. You were pretty close. I appreciated the effort, though, to try to think through that. That was good. Question 8. This one's worth 3.68 points. Which film has the longest opening shot?
Now, this is like before there's a cut.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, I will say that I didn't take into account like credits or graphics or anything. So, for example, for Zach on the Couch, the Nickelodeon symbol comes up. I counted that as a graphic. That does not count as a shot to me.
Oh, then Zach on the Couch. Lock
And
that
I
in.
think, I can't remember if there's any other credits in any of them, but sorry, what'd you say? Zach on the Couch? D?
Yeah, it's got to
Locked
be
up?
that one, right?
All right. The answer is C, Procrastination 2, with a 1:36 opening shot of you and Cody just talking with no cuts. And
That's a
then
minute 36.
it goes on for a 1:36, and then it dissolves to another shot. But yeah, I was surprised when I found that out, that in fact, and these are the top 5 longest opening shots in PRFF history. So Procrastination 2 with the longest, And then Zach on the Couch, minute 14. Life is Not Meaningless, 42.5 roughly. Tick Tick, roughly 34.5. Red Band Trailer, 32. So yeah, that's a tough one, but I would have thought Zach on the Couch as well. I would have thought for sure when I was doing the research, I thought that would be the clear winner, but as it happens, no. However, you have a chance to redeem yourself here because, another bonus chance. What's going to happen? You can get 7.5 bonus points if you correctly name the film with the shortest opening shot in PRFF history. So this is a big opportunity for you. There's a lot of points potentially to be had here.
You're a bad man. You're a bad man.
Out of 64 films, which film has the shortest opening shot ever?
Am I allowed to look at a list of the films just to kind of jog my memory? Or no?
Yeah, you can pull up the playlist, the all the films playlist.
Okay. Can I watch all the films real quick?
No. I'll give you like a couple minutes. I'll give you an arbitrary amount of time. But the arbitrary clock continues to tick as always. So
I want to say, actually no, I have my answer. I'm gonna say it's Meaningless because it starts out with that, basically them slamming their drinks down, so it cuts almost immediately. I'm pretty sure.
Is that what you want to lock in?
Yeah, let's lock that one in.
You got 7.5 points. You got 7.5 points for that one, buddy. Because that's the only opening shot that's less than 1 second long. Out of all,
are you keeping track of my points?
I am. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've got them all tracked.
Sweet.
Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, I think I've gotten all of the. Because there were 7 questions and then 2 bonus questions.
Yep. All right.
All right. Let's move on. Good job. Question number 9. This one is worth 3 points. How many films have footage that was shot outside of the U.S.?
All right. Rotten Doppel. Betrayal. Landers. Because Andrew is singing in the shower in Japan.
Good call.
Chronicles of Light 5 is in Israel. Now, this year, Andrew did sing again in another shower in Paris, but I don't believe it was on screen. So could you tell me if that would count or not?
It has to be on screen.
Okay. I don't believe he was on screen, so I'm going with... I'm looking through the all films thing just to scrolling really quickly to just see if anything else pops out to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go. I'm going 3.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, sir.
All right. By my count, the answer is 5.
Really? Okay.
And the reason for that is you named 3 of them. They're all correct. But what you're forgetting is in Call of Duty Unsightly Zombies, the captain footage at the beginning, I actually shot that for Trevor from my hotel room in Japan.
Are you kidding me?
So, and then I reused that shot for the M Squad. So that is where the 5 comes into play. Now,
do you want to know something? I was whenever I was watching your film, for this interview, I noticed that there was a Japanese lettering next to you. And I was just curious because I figured it was a green screen shot and you just put random hospital behind you and didn't think about that. So was that not a green screen shot?
No, I was sitting on my bed in the hotel when I did that shot.
So that background is real.
Yes, that is the hotel room in Tokyo, Japan that I was in. So that's now again, I'm with you. I don't remember there being any on-screen footage of Andrew in Paris. If that is wrong, then I apologize for incorrect info. But as far as I know, from again, I didn't research this as thoroughly as I would have liked to, but
Mhm.
I do think that 5 is the answer.
I think you got it.
All right, let's move on. All right, question 10, 3 points. When did PRFF 0, the OG virtual festival, take place?
Mm.
We showed all of our old projects. That was the initial concept that Andrew had before we actually took it and made new content.
I've got nothing on this. I'm going C because that seems like a good one, but this is a pure guess. No, June. Wait, January, February, March, and April. Oh, April. I'm going April. No, all right. This is my final answer. May 11th. Lock in.
May 11th? All right. Answer is D, May 26th, 2020.
It was the one that I didn't say.
Who would have thought back on that fateful day, May 26, 2020, that we would endeavor to have we would end up all of these years later with a we would end up with the most legendary film festival possibly in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly the most underground.
Right. All right, question number 11. Who has the most Best Actor nominations? Now, this has nothing to do with the it just, in terms of who won Best Actor and everything, that's not really in play here as much as who got nominated. So, when you go in to submit, oh, this is the person I'm putting up for Best Actor this year. Who has been put up for Best Actor collectively the most in PRFF history?
So Smart Money says it's either Matt or Zach, given that they are in the most films. So, statistically, I feel like it makes sense to go either B or C. Again, I'm going to go through real quick just to see if I, you know what? I'm just going to go with you. Letter B, lock in.
The answer is Trevor with 8.
Okay.
Believe it or not. Now, it's interesting about the thing about this data here. Trevor and Zach are the only 2 directors to have been nominated every single year for at least one film for Best Actor, and Trevor has, I think, 3 years with multiple nominations. So there's actually a 4-way tie for third. I think Sam and I believe Paul, if I'm not mistaken, also had 5 Best Actor nominations. So yeah, that is where that comes into play. But yeah, so pretty wild stuff. Let's move on. Question number 12. 2.35 points. Now, Chuckles won Best Actor in PRFF 2, but which human did he beat by 1 vote?
All right. Party Room 2. He won that for Rotten Doppel.
You mean the Rotten Roommate?
Was it me? Or yeah, Rotten Roommate. Was it me? Did he beat me?
Is that what you want to lock in?
Yeah.
D?
Yeah, I think so.
He actually beat Zach for Sweaty Gains.
Dang.
By 1 vote. I think you were 3rd, I believe,
in
the voting. Pretty sure.
What are these point values, Matt? The last one was 3.22. This one's 235.
It is my guesstimation as to how many points the question should be worth based on my guesstimation as to how difficult it is.
Okay.
So that is where they come from. Question 13. Now, which team won the Civil War battle in PRFF 5? Now, this one's worth a point. It's red and it's blue. Now, think back. Remember what the powers that be had come together to decide here. And I want you to tell me which team won the Civil War battle.
This is a team captain pulling an alpha move and showing domination. It would be the red team, Matt. Lock in.
Now, okay, you locking that in? All right. Well, look at that. You're correct. I just wanted to remind everybody that the red team did in fact win the Civil War battle. So that's a point. That is a point for Jacob. He's back on the board. All right, question number 14, 1.83 points. Which director has the shortest combined runtime of all of their party room submissions?
Mm.
And I added these totals up based off of the YouTube watch page and not the YouTube thumbnail. Because for some reason, the YouTube thumbnail is 1 second longer than the YouTube watch page. I don't know why, but that is where I got these numbers from.
I feel like I keep using the phrase smart money, but I stand by it. I feel like smart money is Cody because he didn't submit a film. So everybody else has like 5 years worth of films, whereas Cody has 4 years.
Except for Aaron, he has 4.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but Aaron's films are long. Aaron's films are long, aren't they? Yes. Sam's films are long. Trevor kind of gets in and gets out a lot. It's either Trevor or Cody. Let's go. And Cody doesn't do long films either, is the thing. He does like kind of medium films, I feel like. I'm going Cody. Lock in. C.
Boom. There you go. 1.83 points to you. He had 16 minutes and 20 seconds collectively over his 4 submissions, so his average length is only 4 minutes and 5 seconds.
Mm.
And then Trevor, yeah, you had it down. I mean, Trevor and Cody were the two. Now, these are just like 5 people I picked out. This isn't necessarily like the shortest 5 collective runtimes. I didn't run the numbers for everybody.
Yeah.
So there might be someone who has a collectively shorter runtime than like Mitchell or Sam or someone, but I think I feel pretty confident about Cody. Now, obviously, Landers and Levi have shorter collectively, but yeah. So good job, you got it. Question number 15. We're coming up toward the end here. 2.42 points. Pick the group of directors that have never submitted a film longer than 8 minutes. It's one group here. There's a group here that has never submitted a film longer than 8 minutes.
Okay. Hold on. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm not going to look at the films, the all films list, because that would
length
of. So let me close that. All right. Mitchell's longest film is definitely Life Is Not Meaningless. I have no clue how long that was. Andrew's longest film. Andrew does long films. I feel like I'm a Monster was like long as well. Sam. Okay. All right. Levi, short films. Trevor, short films. Again, there's Sam. This is a dumb question, man.
I knew you'd hate it.
Well, see, the other thing is that, all right, B and D are the same, except you add Josiah. And so that's where it's like Andrew, Josiah. Let's go through Josiah's films. His longest one would have been Snapped, for sure. But the issue is like, is that 750 or is that? I'm gonna go with B. Lock in.
All right.
I have so much anxiety about this one. I don't know why.
I'm discovering now that I actually screwed up this question.
Yay, I win.
Screwed up the answer.
I win by default. Give me the points.
Well, because I had done the research on this, but apparently I must have left a film out because um hmm, that's weird. I don't know if you want to edit this out or leave it in, but either way, is it cool if I just like edit that real quick and you edit that into the thing?
Sure.
Okay. All right, now we'll just pretend that that never happened.
Okay.
So B, you feel confident about B?
No, I think it's C.
Shut up.
I think it's B. Lock in. I think it's B.
All right. Now, to the best of my knowledge, the answer is C. Cody, Josiah, Levi, and Jacob.
How long was just off the top of your head, how long was Josiah's first year film, Snap?
Like 5 minutes or something.
Really? I thought it was
Yeah.
like massively long for some reason.
No. Yeah, like obviously Cody submits short films. Josiah has had some long films, but they've never gone beyond 8 minutes. Perfect was just under 8 minutes long, and Interconvolution was only about 6.5 minutes.
Mhm.
Obviously, he didn't go above 8 minutes this past year. So, yeah, he has never actually gone beyond 8 minutes with his films, as far as I am aware.
Mhm.
And oh yeah, because The Greatest Showdown was almost 8, but not quite 8.
Oh wow. Okay.
Now, question number 16, the penultimate question for 1 point. Which director has had 2 of his films feature the Best Actor Award winner?
Mhm. 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 Best actors from each year. We have Chuckles. We have Sarah, and then I don't remember anybody else. Who won it this year? I can't remember that. I'm gonna go with Aaron, assuming that either Levi or Trevor won Best Actor for Science. So
Lock it
lock
in?
in Aaron. Lock in Aaron.
The answer is Andrew.
Dang it.
Zach. So Zach tied with Matt in year 1. Matt for Mousetrap Killers, Zach for Evil. And then Sarah won outright for Pegged.
Yep, that's it. Dang it.
And then Zach won this past year for Mr. Numbers. So that would be Paul.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we've gone through all the questions. We've had our highs, we've had our lows, we've had our technical issues. Now it's time to go to the final question. 4.07 points. Who has the most total combined votes all time for the Golden Dewey?
Interesting. I want to say Paul. Wait, hold on. Yeah, it's got to be Paul because, well, for one, he's come in second twice. So, I mean, he's had it. But because year 4 we had a tie, that means he got like an extra 10 votes.
No, I did not count those.
Okay.
Toward it. I only counted up until the tie.
Okay. I was about to say, I was so happy with my knowledge for a second.
No, that makes sense. But no, I only tallied them up. I didn't take into account any late votes either. Like voting, like it's whatever people submitted. So even if a film was late, those Golden Dewey votes still get tallied up.
I mean, I think Paul is still a safe answer because he's come in second twice. So that means like he's been up there. I'm thinking through one more time. I mean, I came in second year 2, and then like third year 5. Andrew, I'm going Paul. Lock in.
Well, my friend, congratulations because you got the 4.07. Paul has collectively 32 all-time Golden Dewey votes. This is the top 5 right here. Paul with 32, Andrew second all-time with 29, Josiah with 23, and then Jacob and Zach are tied for 4th with 21 each.
Very nice.
So there you have it.
Amazing. So what's my final score?
Well, now as far as if my math was correct and I added these all correctly, which I don't know if I did or not, I believe the maximum possible score is 49.07. It appears you came out with a grand total of 22 9/10 points. 22.9 is
That-
your final score.
That feels reasonable. I think that'll stand the test of against the nerd group. Although I do realize now that talking through my process might lead them to the answers as well. So they're just going to get the same score as me.
Or maybe they'll think through it and realize, no, what you're saying isn't correct. And then they'll get answers. Or perhaps they'll just want to be a contrarian because they'll be like, well, actually, I think it's this. And they'll answer something different than you. So who's to say? But yeah, that's the challenge. I challenge everybody, post your score in the chat. How did you do?
Actually, we're trying to figure out the algorithm. So if you would like and comment your score below the video.
If you would do that as well, if you really wanted to. I mean, yeah, who needs the Discord anyway? Yeah, YouTube. Yeah.
Make the chat great again. Let's go back to Messenger. Trevor. Tune in next time when we ask the question.
Okay.
What was Sam put in his mouth?
Hey there, Ferguson the Puppet here. This week's podcast episode is brought to you by the letter M and by Mountain Dew, the official sponsor of the Party Room Film Festival. And now, enjoy the rest of the episode.
So, Matt, I have just a few more questions for you, if that's all right.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the dust on the battlefield has settled. Red team came out victorious.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any final comments on this whole red versus blue rivalry before we, wrap it up?
I just would like to point out the fact that the poor Levi with his mini pod and in the chat and all over, he's just been bullied, battered, and beaten by the blue team. But I'd like to point out the fact that the blue team talked all that smack, and what happened? They did not win. The red team came out on top, and a classic loser behavior. They're trying to discredit the red team. They're trying to come up with excuses. They're talking about like, oh, well, we have this and that, and well, really, it really wasn't that big. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to sit back comfortably in the winner's circle with my teammates and just enjoy victory, because no matter what blue team says, everybody knows the real winner was red.
After seeing how well received the merch was this year, what other merch would you like to see in the future?
Well, I mean, it would be pretty cool to have party room themed props. So a party room themed mousetrap, a party room themed plunger, a party room themed Nickelback CD, things of that nature, party room snow globe. I think that would be pretty on point. And I think at some point, I think someone actually did suggest the 3D printed nerd logo that Cody made for everybody as a prop. Like, how meta would that be if we had something that was specific to our group was a prop that we had to use? That would be, or a party room shovel would also be a good one as well. All things to keep in mind for the people that, you know, have the ability to put in orders for such things. I didn't order this, but I kind of wish I did. The PRFF hoodie was awesome. Big fan of that. That was pretty sick. Really like the hat and the shirt. Thought those turned out great. Huge fan of the merch. Yeah, I don't really know of anything else. Maybe like some PRFF gloves or a PRFF rain jacket, maybe. I'm all for the branding. I'm all in on the merch especially after seeing the results of what we got last year. Is awesome.
Just that high quality gear.
Exactly.
What party room Lego sets would you like to see?
Now that's a great question. I'll tell you what, in terms of if you were to in terms of figurines, I mean, I think Eyewitness would be a great one. I think that's a pretty high level character to have as a Lego. I think Ferguson would be another good one. I think now I'll tell you a great set would be a Chronicles of Light set. You imagine like taking sets, like scenes from the trilogy, building it up, and then you have like the wizards, and you have, you know, all the characters from that on good side, bad side. That to me would be a really solid Lego set. It would be cool to have like a Tokyo set, like a Rotten Doppel set. Obviously, you know, that location.
Oh yeah.
Back United States mainland, I think maybe like Metal Weird Solid might be a fun set. So you'd have face changer. So like you'd have potentially a bunch of different, you know,
heads
faces
for the
you could
minifigure.
just swap out with the figure, so that, you know, you'd have like the base body, and then there'd just be a bunch of face changer heads that would go with it. I think that would be a pretty good one.
That's good.
Also, I think Parrot from Game Night would be a good one. Parakeet, whatever it was, whatever Melissa's character from Game Night would be, I think that would be a good one as well.
So obviously you won. Actually, no, we'll just ask you it normally. Rate yourself over the years 1 through 5. What was your best showing and what was your worst showing?
I mean, obviously it's Bargain Batman's #1. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer there. Which to this day is still the only film that I've not only more or less completely edited, but also turned it on time. Figure it once. So, I mean, that's so far above and beyond all the others in terms of ranking. That's #1. And then way down below, #2 would probably be Thrice the Dice, because that one was late, but it was relatively done. There wasn't really anything too major missing from it. It gets kind of tricky after that. I think I would probably put the M Squad at #3. Just because I thought that I really like that concept. I think it's really funny. The idea of it's just me, but it's all different versions of me, like different characters I played. I think that's hilarious. So that's 3. Then I'd put the Mousetrap Killers at #4. Because I was pretty happy with how that turned out, minus the missing effects. I thought that was a fun one. And I thought there was some really cool shots in that. Like I really liked obviously the lightning one, what turned out. I mean, I edited in the lightning, but still I thought that was a cool shot. And it had some of the car chase stuff I thought looked really cool. So in terms of like cinematography, I actually really like how the Mousetrap Killers turned out. And then the Great Golden Dewey Heist, which is an idea that I had that I still think it's a good idea. I just think the execution obviously needed to be a lot better. You know, just pivoting from a different idea mid-festival was not the play.
That's understandable. I think that would probably be my list if I was judging you as well. Like, I think that does kind of... I would agree with that one. Now, you know, before we end year 5, before we say goodbye to year 5, do you have in mind going forward?
Well, I have I have in my back pocket 3 ideas, and I want to make all 3 really badly. And like I'm pretty dead set on doing it at some point. So I'm gonna pick one of those for this year. Going forward, I liked the Civil War thing. I thought that was cool. I don't know that we need to do something like that again real soon, but I'm not opposed to possibly revisiting that like every 5 years or something, maybe.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, I would imagine there'd be new team captains for the next one, which would be cool. And then I don't know. I just think it's cool to experiment with different ideas and concepts and stuff. I mean, obviously, I've got everything planned out way in advance, so I've always got my thing I want to do. But I do have, I mean, I've got so many ideas and concepts for films that I want to make. There's just no shortage of ideas that I have. But I've got 3 I've got 3 different ideas that I can adapt and use for this coming year. So I'm pretty excited for that. And then going forward, I also am just excited with how the advancements in phone technology are leading to higher quality films in terms of visuals.
Mhm.
I'm excited to push the boundaries of that and see what I can do with phones. And I'm also just excited. I mean, again, everybody always says, but it always comes down to just hanging out with the guys and it's the community and everything. Like that's what it's all
Yeah.
about. So it's just fun year to year to meet with like a different group of people. I mean, there are people that I use pretty much every year, but you know, my hope is that I can vary the protagonists and like the primary players year to year,
Mhm.
and try to at some point eventually include everybody.
Yeah, I can't help but notice you have never asked me to be your boom operator or camera guy or anything like that.
I have invited you. I invited you to the shoot that 8 people were on a couple
Oh, the
years
Golden
back.
Dewey heist.
Yeah, but you
That's
know,
right.
I mean, everybody's welcome to come be a part of it. It's just logistics are more difficult. However, I think I told you about my idea where I was going to have you be one of the primary players in it. Did I tell you about that? I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure.
think so, no.
Well, it involves
Wait, yes,
you.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
I was gonna say so that is. I really do want to do that one this year, but I know that you're on the road all the time, so I know that
I am.
it's a lot of it's going to depend on if you have any availability.
Hmm. Yeah, you gotta book me way in advance, buddy. Sorry.
I mean, I'm telling you right now, if you've got availability, just let me know because I can make it happen anytime June, July. I've got the power to pretty much make any time during those months happen. So if you
Yeah.
have the availability,
Let's talk come May time.
okay.
And because I think I don't usually get on the road till like June 10th. So
Okay.
if you really do have an idea that you can anyway,
Oh,
we can talk
we
about
could
this off
shoot it
off
day
podcast.
one. We could shoot it day one. We really could.
All right, we'll talk about it later, not on the podcast. We don't want these listeners getting all the details and all
Yeah,
that.
they don't need to know too far in advance.
That they can know about it next season of the podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, Matt, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
This has been the PRFFP, and I'm just hanging out.
Hanging out with my family.
What are you doing?